Welcome to the War Room, a weekly roundtable discussion that takes place every Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Tune in at 911warroom.com/Zoom.
Afternoon, everybody. It's 5 o'clock, Sunday, January 16th. Starting off the 9/11 War Room with the newest in corporate 9/11 news. Let's hop in on it. News lookup. Nothing really big here. This really has nothing to do with 9/11, actually. The title hit on how the new atheists hijacked secularism after 9/11.
Dean, we can't see your screen. We just have a really black screen and that's it.
Let's try this again.
Sorry.
Share screen. Oh, that's screen 3 now.
There you go.
All right. How the new atheists hijack secularism after 9/11. And the article has absolutely nothing to do with 9/11 other than mentioning 9/11
Oh, wow.
and piggybacking on it. Basically talking. Hey, Pete, we're just going to mute you real quick. Good to see you.
Who's that just joined, Gene?
Pete Bennett.
Okay.
Yeah, I got to get my headphones on. Hold on.
Okay, no problem. I was going to mute you temporarily because background noise. There we go. Basically, the article just mentions to ponder religious extremism. That's the whole reason they brought up 9/11 in this article. The other one, Dad was faced with agonizing choice when wife died on 9/11, opens up story of hope and love for Scotland. And reading the article, it really just his wife had died at the Pentagon, and he got remarried and moved to Scotland, and that was about it. Total of 184.
A slow news week.
Yeah, total of 184 people were killed in the attack, which happened around 15 minutes after the first plane hit in New York. But this gentleman lost his wife at the time, Shelley. So, Shelley, rest in peace. We're fighting for justice for her and others that died and continue to die from 9/11. That's all I have in corporate news for 9/11. As far as, let me stop the screen share.
Did you make me co-host?
And do that. A co-host, yes. Richard Gage had a new interview with Daniel Ganser, the Swiss historian. I caught about half of it. I got to rewatch it. It was really good. He talked about the information war and propaganda, and it was really enlightening there for the moments that I did hear it. I don't know if anybody has any other extra commentary on that or listen to it.
I caught about 3/4. I thought it was really good. A lot of false flag events that give you some historical perspective.
Daniel Ganser, he did a few that I've seen, one on Lee Hop and Me Hop, whether we let it happen on purpose or make it happen on purpose. And he did a really good speech on that a long time ago. Good guy, knows his history, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Anything else? 9/11.
Yeah, well, Mick answered your email.
Yeah, let me.
About how we can attend.
That is a good one to know. So news item for we're up in 6 days until 6 or 5 days until whatever it is. This Friday, January 21st, 2022, the Lawyers Committee is going to be presenting oral arguments for our First Amendment, our constitutional First Amendment right to petition a grand jury. As it says here from Mick, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit will not be holding oral arguments on January 21st live. That's a video, so no one will be able to attend in person. This is at Foley Square in New York City. The public may access the audio live stream or our oral argument scheduled for 10 a.m. of our oral argument scheduled for 10 a.m. January 21st on the following link. So I will, let me at least paste that in the chat. For those of you that want to get it, we will also share it
Yeah.
in the meeting minutes afterward, or whatever they're called.
Recap.
Recap, yeah. Now I don't know how to get there. Get to our chat. Forgive me while I try this real quick. There we go, chat, and to everyone. There it is. Should this not work, the court advised that a live stream link, presumably the same one, to the oral argument audio will be available on the court's website. So that there's the link for their website as well, which is just takeoffcourt.html on it. So this is pretty exciting. For those that don't understand what's going on there, I'll try to give a quick recap. In November 2018, we presented basically the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York acknowledged the receipt of the 60 exhibits for the controlled demolition of 1, 2, and 7. They said that they would abide by federal statute 18 U.S.C. 3332, that they would present the 60 exhibits to a grand jury. And then for a year and a half, 2 years, they drug their feet and did not do that. So Mick and the Lawyers Committee filed a lawsuit trying to get some information on whether the grand jury had even been impaneled. And then all of a sudden, the U.S. attorney turned about 180 and said, you know, we don't want to do this. We're not going to honor the federal statute. We're not even going to honor the United States Constitution, where you have a First Amendment right to petition. So they fought it. And the judge at that level, the district level, denied our right. And the Lawyers Committee sued again for an appeal. Now it's at the U.S. Second Circuit Court of Appeals, basically now fighting for our constitutional right to petition. Basically, just here's the evidence, grand jury, and there's absolutely no reason they're trying to say that we don't have standing to do that, but it's our First Amendment constitutional right. So this coming Friday, Mick Harrison is going to present. They get 10 minutes aside to show how we have standing, why we have a constitutional right to be able to just present the evidence to a grand jury. So this is exciting. So that, again, happening 10 a.m. this Friday. On top of that, Dave Cool, on the 21st, we mentioned this yesterday or last week, Dave Cool did get he won a lawsuit for his FOIA request with FEMA and NIST. So now he is granted the right to discovery. So Dave is now going to intensely go after NIST and FEMA for these files that he knows exists. Basically, the stiffener plate on girder A2001, which he dug into, the shear studs on that girder A2001 as well. Basically, they're going to kick the leg out from underneath NIST and FEMA, trying to hide this evidence. They know the files and the evidence. Dave knows the files and the evidence is there, so he's just going to keep poking at them. Any questions on that? Hey, Cayle, how are you? I'm just going to mute you because it's really loud there.
After January 21st, do we know how long it's going to take, or what we can expect in terms of, I guess, the procedure? Like, do we know how much time it's going to take before they respond? Is it going to be public? What happens after that?
That is a good question. I'm going to mute somebody else because it's really loud. I think that was Pete. We'll just unmute you when you want to talk there, Pete. I was just getting a lot of chatter in the background. Question from Sandra. Thank you. The question from Sandra is, how long will we get a turnaround before we know what's going to happen? I don't have an exact answer on that, but what I can share is, if I may, everyone has access to this. Alfred Magaletta had asked about this a couple weeks ago. So at 9/11 War Room, I have a folder LC for the Lawyers Committee, and one of them was the grand jury for WTC, and I copied the docket The new docket, where is it? Nope, that was the old docket. The new docket, 2021. No, that's the lawsuit. There we go. He had filed the appeal. No, sorry. I'm getting myself confused here. It took him, when they got denied in March of 24th, 2021, and they said we didn't have standing, it took Mick 2 months from March 24th to May 23rd, 2021 to file his appeal to the denial. So I imagine within a month or two, Mick would, if we got denied again, Mick would file the appeal within a couple months, and this would go on to the Supreme Court. Right now, this is at the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. For those that don't know, that's the second highest law court in the land. The next up is the Supreme Court. So we would be fighting for our First Amendment right to petition a grand jury at the Supreme Court level. So this is exciting. I love this. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I kind of want this whole thing to go to the Supreme Court and get some legs.
So this is the, just looking, since I have it up on the screen, this is the old docket. This is when we first started. Basically, they hadn't heard from the U.S. Attorney's Office in some time since they had, the U.S. Attorney's Office had acknowledged the evidence in 2018. So here you see, basically a year goes by, almost a year goes by, and they filed a lawsuit, and then we got denied, and they filed an appeal. And now the new docket, it has continued, and again, the government drugged their feet for a certain amount of time, and then a notice of hearing, December 23rd, 2021, the notice of the hearing date for July or January 20th, and now we're just waiting for January 21st, excuse me, January 21st to happen. So, good times for 9/11 truth and the legal fronts. Any other questions on that? Go ahead, Pete. What you got?
Thank you. I'm in the middle of litigation here in California that you don't know about, and my history with 9/11 is a virus called NIMDA. Most of you either know about it or don't know about it. It was my laptop when I was working at SBC Global. FBI agent Ken Cart showed up at my house a couple of days later. I helped wipe out millions of servers. Last summer, my attorney was going to sue Jeffrey Epstein, and he was murdered on his front porch in Crestline, Southern California, and then that led to the judge. I got on the phone and I talked to this guy here from Kirkland and Ellis. His name is Jay Lefkowitz. I'm having trouble getting it lined up. There it is. And he is Kirkland and Ellis 9/11 Victims Compensation Fund. I'm also a software engineer connected to the San Bruno explosion. I know who blew up the pipeline. I'm involved. And the same people that were involved at SBC Global are the same ones involved in the PG&E explosion. I know all the linkages. I know a lot of the billionaires involved. I've traced my story for 20 years. My cars have exploded, and I have evidence. I have details that you don't know about. And, you know, I'm going to do my P-minute 9/11 or something like that. But this virus that you don't know about is a critical element of the World Trade Center bombings. The virus wiped out 20 million servers. It wiped out a lot of the records connected to Sabre Systems, SARBE, which is the flight reservations. When you lost those records, you didn't really know everybody on the planes. All right, now, there's an FBI agent named Frank Doyle Jr. who was on the 1993 bombing. Frank was in my cabinet shop in 1989 when I was suing Southern Pacific. What was in Building 7 is a lot of the litigation connected to Southern Pacific and Enron. I sued them. They killed my witness. I lost millions. What I'm trying to present, and I'm going to go slower, I'm in contact with Kirkland and Ellis, and their court-ordered ethics monitor for the PG&E explosion, and they're stonewalling me, just like everybody else has done. When you look at Mark Philippe, former acting Deputy Attorney General of the United States, appointed by Bush, he's the one doing the stonewalling. Whoops. And I'm trying to get this across. I got people shooting at me. My family's been killed. My girlfriend and daughter have been killed. It's too much. Now, eventually I will get it to you. I lost your image. Where'd you go?
We're here.
All right, there you are. You're back. So this virus is connected to the planes and the reservation systems, NASDAQ, Chicago Board of Exchange. I was at SBC Global. I know what happened. I've been nearly killed for this. And I'm going to show you, I've just got my finances a little bit straightened out, but I'm sitting in Phil's Coffee, Walnut Creek, and I'm just going to aim back behind me. Outside that door, just a month and a half ago, somebody fired 4 rounds from the 57 at me. It's crazy stuff. This part of this story leads to Bechtel, and part of this whole nightmare is George Bush, and George Bush's father and my grandparents were friends. My mom went to school with Barbara Bush. My grandfather represented David Rockefeller. David Rockefeller managed our family trust. I lived on Park Avenue, New York City. He just sold our building, and we just more or less lost millions. I've been fighting these people for decades. I had no idea that my grandfather's client, President Kennedy, they probably killed my grandfather in '62 and then killed his client.
All right,
And that law firm
real quick,
is now part of. I know there's a lot to say.
You're throwing a lot at us here. That's a fire hose and a half. Can you start us off? Go ahead.
I'm going to slow it down. I'm sorry. So I called this guy Jay Lefkowitz at Kirkland and Ellis when I discovered his connection to 9/11, and his connection is to Alex Acosta, and that is the Jeffrey Epstein story. What I don't think anybody realizes that Jeffrey Epstein and his friends, Larry Ellison, Michael Milken, and all the money games these guys play, watched the Benjamin Netanyahu trial in Israel, where Larry Ellison of Oracle is going to be testifying. And look at the NSO group and the Pegasus software. The virus called Nimda, you can basically find the skill set on WikiLeaks Alt 7.
Yep.
Okay?
For those
that
don't
virus.
Know, the Pegasus software is Israeli software that is used as for hacking.
Yeah, and that, when I saw all that just in the last couple of years, I had already had, listen, Richard Lambert, who sued on the anthrax case, has a friend, used to be on my LinkedIn profile, but I'll get it to you. Her name is Noelle Gilbert. She works at Mantech, the Pentagon's projects type groups. When I found him, then I found her already on my LinkedIn account for years. Then all of a sudden I noticed I had about 20 top secret people looking at me and what I was posting. They cut me off at LinkedIn. They cut me off at Google. They've cut me off at SBC Global. I'm owed by definition in the millions with what I've gone through. I sued these people that are involved in 9/11 in 1987. I knew Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was part of the Lakers, owned by Philip Anschutz of Southern Pacific. Philip Anschutz shows up in the Virginia Beach shootings with Goldman Sachs and that whole mess out there. He shows up in the Nashville bombing. I worked on the Nashville Central office. I know what's in that building. I wrote software in a certain area in telecommunications. I've been hammered to homelessness. The only way I connected with you guys is somebody brought me to San Francisco and said, you got to meet these guys. And I met a guy named Mike Baldwin on Market Street. And I'm looking at your CDs that you've been distributing about 8 years ago. And then I realized that was what I've been through. I didn't really make the giant connection
All right,
for over
Pete,
10 years.
hang on one sec. I'm just going to take 1 minute time out here at 5:20. I say a little prayer for 9/11 justice. For those that aren't
You want to
religious.
mute Pete while you do that? Just
Yeah, just chill
we're not
out for 1
distracted.
second, guys. We'll get
1
back to you,
second, yeah.
Pete.
And then maybe Pete can recap for us after.
Yeah, so everyone, just for a quick second here, Lord, we just come to you right now. We just thank you for all of these activists and advocates that are for 9/11 truth. I just ask for a prayer of protection for them. I just ask you would continue to encourage us as we continue to seek this path for justice. We ask for a prayer of protection around the Lawyers Committee and Richard Gage and Pete, Lord, for what he's sharing here. If it is true, Lord, that you would just protect him and allow this information to be heard. Lord, we just ask that you would bless Mick Harrison and help him find the words of wisdom to be able to speak on this Friday, fighting for our First Amendment right to petition a grand jury. We ask for blessing and positive, just a positive outcome from that. We thank you for all these things. We lay it at your feet. In your name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you, guys. Pete, you want to? It's hard. You have so much to say here, and it's hard to see. You got a million avenues. If you could give us a focus and kind of dial in on how this can.
Because you're going back in time and into the present, and you're reaching out into many different geographical, historical events.
Well, let's.
Can you just tell us right now? You said right now you're in a litigation. So what is this litigation about? Who are you going after, and for what reason specifically?
All right. Okay. Let's talk about a case that's involved with Kirkland and Ellis. That's an important name in this story that you really don't know. Okay. First off, Kirkland and Ellis was appointed by Judge Alsup. And by the way, that's judgealsup.com.
Okay, who's Kirkland and Ellis? Let's start with that. What's Kirkland and Ellis?
Okay. Well, first off, this picture I showed you on my hit the wrong screen, darn it. This guy right here, his name is Jay Lefkowitz, and I'm going to try to get to the screen. There we go. Okay, so he's in New York. I called him about 5 months ago. I said, I'm a victim. Yeah, I got him on the phone.
But who is he?
He is the attorney involved in the Victims of 9/11 Compensation Fund. So anybody around the building that got sick, I've got pre-cancer nodules. I've been poisoned. All right. I've been through a lot. Now, I called him after I found Kirkland and Ellis involvement in the San Bruno explosion and conviction. So you have a pipeline on the West Coast that blew up, and you have wildfires all through Northern California, hundreds, billions in damages. All right. Now, when I started to analyze NIMDA, I kept track of it for years. Along the way, I was hired at Symantec for a project that put about $50,000 in my pocket. And then I got let go for no reason. Well, I traced the person with the NIMDA virus to Symantec, to somebody that went to school with Dick Cheney. That's our favorite friend in this story. Remember Dick Cheney, Mr. 9/11? I have a friend, she's back in Texas. We met here locally. She worked for KBR during the war preparation. They nearly killed her here in El Dorado County about 5 years ago. All right, so her connection was more bizarre than anything you can believe. But my role in 9/11, I wiped out millions of servers. I figured out what they did. I called the FBI, got figured it out. The FBI investigation that you don't know about is here. It started with people connected to Bechtel, U.S. Attorney's Office, San Francisco Northern District, former U.S. Attorney.
You're losing us again. You're losing us again.
Sorry.
One of them, one tie there is Bechtel. Bechtel is a major contractor in the world, and they were part of the cleanup of 9/11.
Okay.
Okay, well, then let me move on Bechtel a little bit, because that would be Riley Bechtel, okay? And Riley Bechtel lives in Lafayette, just one town over from where I'm at. When I sued Southern Pacific, all these entities that are involved with Bechtel and involved with 9/11 and involved with the military and involved with Warren Buffett. Okay, all these people, the money tree at the top trickles down and then they go laterally and they give away billions of dollars. And that would be KBR and Halliburton. My friend, that's where she worked and she almost got killed. She's actually a writer on Breitbart. She knew Andrew Breitbart. Her name's Jen Hannon. You go to Breitbart and you'll find her articles are still up. And they nearly killed her. And what I'm trying to say is the NIMDA virus destroyed records. So you're looking for evidence. And Gene said earlier, you've got the evidence. Well, I got a piece of that evidence. All right. I am part of that. And I've been trying to get my name in this litigation. One of the things that I found out was I also worked on a software merger acquisition called Oracle v PeopleSoft.com. That's my blog. And that involves Michael Milken, the billionaire, Larry Ellison, Kirkland and Ellis, the law firm that permeates many, many of these investigations. And then all of these hazardous cases of pipelines blowing up and the Nashville bombing explosion and the Virginia Beach shootings. What I know, and the FBI does know this, because I gave them a lot of information. I helped them with all these details for 20 years. And I've taken it in the shorts. It's finally reasonably calm for me. Now,
But Pete, have you
Go
ever,
ahead.
I mean, since you're involved in the whole legal angle, have you ever connected with the lawyers committee to see if anything that you're doing has any relevance for them?
well, you know, I've been in contact with those guys, but listen, they steal my equipment. They steal my phones. I just had my phone stolen. I wish I knew. I'm homeless, living in my car right now. 6 months ago, they broke in my office and I lost the office over what happened. Then a guy attacked me at a prayer meeting. And I had 2 years ago, I had another guy try to strangle me to death in the library. In a library. And then before that, the library guard broke my ribs. So I'm taking it like this all the time. So one day I noticed something about Larry Ellison's employee, Todd Beamer. He is the guy that said, let's roll on Flight 93. The problem is my Danville customer called me from the Newark airport. We had a meeting that day at 5 o'clock. He was flying back.
Hang on, Pete, you're killing me here. Every 5 seconds you're mentioning another major name and another major avenue, and I can't connect anything you've shared yet for how we're
you know, I'm sorry. I will slow it down again.
I don't know if that's the issue. I think the issue is, number one, who are you? What's your background? What's the catalyst of what occurred, when it occurred? What, you know, give us some, go back to the beginning.
And where do we come in also? How does this connect to all of us and things that we can do as activists?
Here's when I listen to you guys, and I listen to everybody, you know, the people at night, and Richard Gates. Richard Gates is on my Facebook account, all right? Here's what, and Susan Serpros, I think she's the one that found me. You're missing this critical piece of information that destroyed records at the Chicago Board of Exchange, destroyed records at the NASDAQ, and NYSE, and also military records. I'll give you the best lead you could ever possibly have. There's a company in New York called Frequency Electronics. It's owned by Richard Blum, friends with Larry Silverstein. Frequency Electronics creates software and hardware that is part of the ship-to-shore and all the secure traffic between military facilities. They have the capabilities of putting the blips up on the radar. They're the ones that would run the systems that would allow everybody to be chasing airplanes around the sky that didn't know where they went. That's one of the parts of one of the elements of 9/11 is the obfuscation of what really happened on that day. I'm part of that. The records that NIMDA destroyed, wiped out 20 million servers, but it's being erased. And I know where it went. And the most critical part was that Todd Beamer got on that airplane in Flight 93, and my customer didn't. He was bumped at the gate. There's only 43 people killed in that plane. So take that and project even out to the other planes. We don't really know. You don't have the truth.
Okay, but
Okay.
the question I would have for you is, okay, there's this information that's missing, that was erased from 20 million servers. What information is that you're talking about?
Well, I've had a conversation with a former director of the NYSC. I've had a conversation with a set of investigators out of Washington, D.C. They come out and they tell me my story's bigger than the Clinton murders, stuff like that. Legitimate. I've been interviewed by Robert Mueller's team. Why am I being interviewed? Well, everybody knows that I called the FBI in late September 2001 and told them something's wrong with this deal I did. I know I wiped out millions of servers. SBC Global is now called AT&T. They bought them. It's called a sub-absorption. I was in the building. In front of me, when I was working there, I had 3,000 or 4,000 servers. The NIMDA virus is a multi-vector exploit. It went everywhere. It came through the browser. It came through the lateral exploits. It came through the network shares. All right. And the guy that ran the network share and ran the firewall defense system for SBC Global was John McAfee. McAfee Firewall maintained it. That's why he's dead. He's one of the key pieces.
So what's the information that's missing?
You're missing a lot of the transactions during 9/11, especially that mysterious. Everybody remembers the money being traded, the advanced trades, but nobody really has a clear picture.
AIG,
Yeah, huh? You remember that?
AIG, and
Right.
what was the
But how do we know that information was on those servers if they were erased?
Well, the question is, I don't have I can't quantify that other than what I pieced together on my own. I do know
Okay.
that the airline reservation servers, one of the master servers is Sabre Systems, and Sabre Systems was wiped out, and there's no records of these. I don't believe all the names on the planes. I just don't believe any of it. All right, so there's, we have all these recordings, and that's true. But the question is do we really know exactly who was on the plane? I mean, look, I can't take over an airplane with a box cutter, and I don't think anybody else could. All right, and so that's kind of what I've always wondered, is who is really on the plane.
As someone who's trained in anti-terrorism, anti-hijacking, and trained to storm aircraft to take out terrorists,
Can you say that again? I didn't hear you. I
As someone who is trained in anti-terrorism, anti-hijacking, and somebody who is trained on how to storm aircraft and take out terrorists on those aircraft, I can tell you it is possible.
Okay. Well, then, what's your credentials in brief?
I was former Air Force. I was a member of our 60th Security Police Squadron at Travis Air Force Base. I was a member of our Security Emergency Services Team, which was our base SWAT, and we trained on how to storm aircraft, various types of aircraft, and also installation, also various installations, nuclear security program. I was a security specialist, basically, is what I was. So I was also trained in anti-terrorism, anti-hijacking. And
so you know who Stratcom is, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, one of those guys from Stratcom came and visited me. I can prove it. I have his name, but I don't have it with me right now. All right.
Okay.
Now, what he told me was I was right about the TW-800, where they stole missiles from Richmond, California in 1988 or 89. The FBI agent that I'm talking about, Frank Doyle Jr., is very critical to this long story. He was on Oklahoma City bombing. He was on Waco, Texas, Ruby Ridge, 1993 bombing. He was trained. He's the FBI agent that trained the bomb squad that basically hit the city of Walnut Creek. The captain of the Walnut Creek bomb squad. This is a separate case. His father's the former CEO of PG&E. Okay, and then some of his friends have been indicted. I got multiple federal indictments. My civil cases are being sealed by federal court orders. There's a lot of racketeering and money games going on. When you understand what happened with PG&E, they wiped them out financially, and now the law firms connected to Warren Buffett, Munger, Tolles, and Olson, they're litigating on behalf of PG&E. And then I worked for that project, and what was stolen from me is enough to kill 1 million people, map-wise. nuclear power plants. I know the people that did the process controls for Diablo Canyon, the process controls for the pumps in Milpitas that failed 30 minutes before the pipeline explosion and sent a bomb of gas and air from Milpitas to San Bruno. I know the executives. I've known some of these guys for 40 years. I was on my way to making.
What does it, knowing all these guys and having this visit and that visit and filing this suit and that suit, what's your story?
Yeah.
My story is on the larger scale, without complicated stuff, Gene, I'll try to keep it light, is I have been set up by people and they used me one too many times. And they've been, I'm going to use the word, they've been trying to kill me for decades, okay? You look up FBI, you got the background, look up FBI agent FBI agent Ken Karch. He's now in Salem. I've been working with Ken since 2001 when he came to my house, but all that proof was stolen by an attorney that's connected to Riley Bechtel.
All that proof, what proof of what?
I had all the documents from my contract with SBC Global. They stole all of that. They stole copies of all my litigation where I lost millions in a separate court case.
Who's they?
Case, if I get specific, here's a name you can look up, Richard Stanford Kopf, K-O-P-F, and you will find him at Southern Pacific with Steve Bird of Safeway. They used to work together. And in 1988, Steve Bird's employee was my friend and they killed her. Separate story. I actually dated his ex-mistress. She's dead, from what I can tell. Steve Bird started at Safeway, or started at Southern Pacific 1 month after the Roseville train bomb blew up with 100 rail cars destined for Vietnam.
All right.
That's a long
Time
tail.
One sec. Ray's got a question, and I've been listening for 15 minutes, and I haven't grabbed hold of one thing you've said.
No, and I just want to say that Mike Zarzano, who I believe is involved with, who has a military background and is connected in a military level, asked the question in the chat, how is this going to help Americans prosecute the crime of 9/11? So I think that's a good recap of how, we're all kind of wondering how this ties in to us and 9/11. You keep saying you're going to simplify it, but then you keep going off on tangents. So
yeah, this has been.
Ray's got his hand up, but I do want to kind of wrap this up.
All right.
Yeah, because we've gone on for 20 minutes now, and I haven't made heads or tails of how we're gonna get anywhere with activism or
Right.
strategy for 9/11. Ray, go ahead and ask your question first. Ray, ask your question. Go ahead.
Hello, good evening or good day. It's 5 o'clock, 5:30. Do you hear me?
Yep, go ahead, brother.
Okay.
Anyway,
I posted a link. It's from. I just wanted to listen to 9/11, not people talking about 9/11 who are not there, but just listen to an eyewitness.
Video has surfaced showing the.
Well, Ray, does your question have to do with what Pete's sharing at all?
Yes, it's about reality. It's going back to the reality of 9/11.
Specifically, does it specifically have to do with what Ray? Because if you have something else to go on another tangent, we'll talk about that in a minute. But is it specific for what Ray's Pete's talking about?
Pete's talking about.
No, what Pete was talking about. It's amazing what he can make up in his words, and if he believes it, it's his thing. But I don't see it related to 9/11 specific, and on the dot. So I think that's.
All right, then we'll come back to
waste
what
of
you're
time.
sharing. We'll come back to what you're sharing in a minute, brother.
Okay.
I just want to try to wrap up what Pete's talking about here, because you've said a million names and a million important things, and I just feel like we've been spinning in the mud here for the last 25 minutes, and I'm trying to get some traction on how this can help us with strategy for 9/11. So if you can.
Well, Alfred's got his hand up, so maybe he wants to weigh in.
Al?
I had one question. What was your relationship with Sue Serpa, and how did you end up on our end up here?
On my Facebook account, I have been posting for 10 years. You can go back and see all the people near me killed. I'm not talking small numbers. I'm talking lots of them. I know the planners of 9/11 and how it connects to Bechtel and how it connects to KBR. All the stuff that I've endured are the people that I sued, and they just happened to mess with me for decades. I don't know how much of you know about what was in Building 7 and the criminal case against people like Warren Buffett and all those guys that you don't even know. It was a money game. Building 7 was a money game. Jeffrey Epstein's model lives on 417
Whoa,
Park Avenue.
whoa. Can
All
I
right.
interrupt? That's not
Yeah,
my
go ahead.
question. My question was, how do you know Sue Serpa and how did you end up on this show?
I got invited by somebody on Facebook. I don't remember
Okay.
who it was.
That's
right.
all I wanted to know.
I
Okay,
didn't
and,
realize that was. Yeah.
and Sean's got a question too.
Sean, go ahead.
Hi, Pete. I had two questions. How old are you?
65. Sean, where do you live? Well, your last name's Nagel. Are you from
I'm
New
in
Jersey?
New York State. No, New York State.
Are you not from New Jersey?
Anyway,
That's
So-
important because Nagel's one of the names in my allegations.
that's fine. Anyway,
Yeah, I keep track of all of it.
your profession is IT software, and you destroy.
Here's my clients. SBC Global.
No, not your clients.
What's your
What your profession is.
Well, then my clients is my profession. I've been building databases for over 30 years. I've worked for some of the biggest companies in the world.
And you've
Fortune
crashed.
100.
You crashed. You crashed a database, is what you were saying.
Well, I didn't crash them in particular. The virus NIMDA originated from San Ramon, California, 9:31 a.m. The FBI came out at my phone call within 1 day. They have moved in. They are all over the Bay Area. I can prove to you confidential police units embedded inside the Walnut Creek Police Department. It's stuff that it's abstract to most of you. All right. The investigation is focused on Bechtel and investment. And the investors are like Fremont Group, and Fremont Group leads to Bill Gates and the virus called NIMDA. The only reason it propagated around the world is the patch system that was a failure by Microsoft. The name of the server is Windows Server 2000 IIS version 5. And when that thing failed, the virus went global. It only took 15 minutes to hit the other side of the pond.
Okay.
I've been interviewed by anybody with the technical background. You can verify this virus, but you can't. You have to have somebody that was there in 2000 that knows the problems about this virus. It was, and if you look very closely at WikiLeaks Vault 7, and then take in and put NSO Group in, who's friends with Larry Ellison and Benjamin Netanyahu, and Larry Ellison's employee was killed, and my customer was bumped from the same plane. I can't prove any of it because they've stolen everything from me. I'm sleeping on the ground, guys. I've nearly lost my life 10 times. I've lost my family. They've all been slaughtered. And the family that got slaughtered leads to the people connected to Bechtel.
I don't
There's
even
too
know
many-
what question to ask. Could somebody help me? I don't even know how to bring this back to
Hey,
that.
listen, if you really don't want to listen,
No, I do
move
want
on.
to listen. I just don't know how to tie it in.
there's
Pete, have
you
you
got
ever?
it. You know what? You
put
guys do the
together
research. Let me just
manifesto?
do this. No, I'm just going to say this and go. All right. You talked to Richard Gage, Mike Baldwin, if you can reach him. All right. I don't know if you know who he is, but that's who brought me in on Market Street about 6 years ago. I'm fighting Dianne Feinstein and her husband, Richard Blum. If you look at the board of directors and
You're killing
interlocutory
me, Pete.
directors,
You keep on bringing more.
You're
new
not
names
smart.
up. There's like
You know
20
what?
names. I love you. I'm not against
No.
you. I just don't know how you keep bringing up. Every time you mention something new, it's a new huge name tied to 9/11, like Bill Gates. Now Dianne
It's-
Feinstein, then FBI agents.
Because-
and like,
because
Help me.
you don't know about frequency electronics.
then another
Look at-
name.
We're,
It's like-
we're not equipped to follow or vet what you're saying. I hope you understand our position. I mean, I don't have a clue. I'm not technically oriented. And, you know, I'm sorry if I appear antagonistic to you, but I don't know who you are. I've never met you in my life. So you got to understand where I'm coming from.
Yes.
I think the question is, what is it? I mean, you're in this group now. You obviously came in with a purpose in mind. Is the purpose to be able to share your story? Is the purpose to get help? Is the purpose to find, I don't know, further connections? Can you just zoom that in for us right now?
You know, my attorney, this is why I can't have a cogent story. My attorney was killed last summer. The son of my attorney was killed. The brother-in-law of my attorney, that's 3. Okay? I have 8 police officers killed in connection with what I'm going through. I'm not just involved in that. So listen here clearly. Most of you have to find somebody that was a Microsoft certified engineer, network specialist in the 2000 range when the patch servers were messed up. Because Bill Gates invested in the company that was being investigated by the SEC. His money's all over this. And Warren Buffett's money's all over it. And Larry Ellison of Oracle. The billionaires.
Still not answering the question.
Because my answers are different than your questions, all right? I'm sorry. I've gone through a nightmare. I can't get an attorney. My attorneys get beaten up. Their offices get burned down. My witnesses are beaten.
Bill Gates is involved in 9/11 and
you go look up this group. You go look up Bill Gates invested $700 million in Cayle Capital. It's on their website in Boston. All right. Bill Gates is friends with the attorney who did the transaction, is the one that killed my witness over 30 years ago. They were just trying to set me up and get me mixed up in this story. You don't have all the facts, as you said when I first got involved in this call today. You said the evidence is there, but you don't really know how to get it. I know the evidence is there, but I've lost most of it.
I didn't say that, but.
Well, I was in there in the conversation about missing evidence with the lawyers committee. You see, the thing is that the part that I know is I know how the legal community fits in the story. That's the part that, it's too abstract for you guys. They're just damn clever. They are clever, and they've covered it up.
You should connect with the lawyers committee. Wouldn't that be your best bet?
Listen, 3 months ago, I was nearly strangled to death in Martinez. A year before that, nearly strangled to death in a public library. Before that, the guard broke my ribs. Before that, my F-250 exploded on the freeway. Then my family got murdered. You tell me where I get the time and energy to go through all this while I'm sleeping on the street, while I'm getting my computers broken, while I'm getting my ribs broken, and you're not hearing me. They almost stopped me.
We're trying to hear you. We can't make coherence of anything.
Well, there's really very little I can prove. That's the problem. They're very good at it.
And
you got the military background. You got the Ed, you got the military background. I know you can look up stuff in 9/11, and I know you can look up and you can find things regards. Hey, tell me something. What are the chances of me being friends with the American killed in Barcelona? Jared Tucker. That's really weird, right? Okay. What are the chances?
Can I say
something? I don't know how Barcelona fits into this.
Yeah,
it's
Barcelona fits
We've gone on to it. I don't even know what to say. Can somebody help us out?
It's like what are the chances of me being involved 3 times? I don't.
Let me just say this. What you're not seeing is you're seeing your little chunk 9/11. I have all these other ancillary incidents that fit in with the same Mormons that I know that are part of what I know happened. Okay.
Right, but you got to be able to communicate this in a way that we can understand it and take it in. Because now I feel like I just got served a bowl of spaghetti and I'm looking at one end of the noodle and I'm trying to find the other end.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. They killed.
Let me add something, guys. I'm Cayle, 9/11 Truth Hawaii. What we're trying to get from you, Pete, is what is the basic subject that you're trying to add to what we're trying to do here. Without throwing names out there, we understand the players that are involved, but what is your main reason
for 20 years, everybody has been suing for information. For 20 years, you've been chasing records and details. When I saw the video of the Building 7 that I didn't even know about around 2012, when I saw that, and then I read what was in the building, I knew that I was connected by litigation that precedes everything you're talking about. In other words, my chunk of information here occurred before this 20 years of information occurred. So you actually are, when I read the legal documents, without saying names, and I read all the pleadings as much as I've been able to read, I see companies and names that I know are connected. I've been on CNN talking about jobs. I was the guy that used to talk about outsourcing America. My Russian programmer was at Boeing Aerospace during 9/11. Yeah, you don't get it, Gene.
No, I just waiting for you to answer his question, and we're going all over the place again.
Yeah, I think in
can't
all
do this.
honesty,
I can't keep doing this. This has been a half an hour of word salad. I can't keep doing this.
Well, I think what you should do, Gene, is maybe, because you know him a little bit better than we do, you can recap maybe with email on who he is and what's going on. And you, sir.
Yeah, and who? Email to who?
We're getting to know you. We're getting to know you. I remember you last time you were outside of a restaurant, and I mean, your story is pretty scary. And
can I say something?
You do have some specifics, but again, it's just way too much information at one time. We're just trying to get an idea of where you're going with us right now and where we're at.
Clearly you've written your story down somewhere because you have lawsuits, right?
I tried to sue Contra Costa County.
Okay, but you said earlier that you
my lawsuits. Hold on. I have most of my stuff is in Contra Costa County. Okay. I have eight murders in my civil litigation. One of those murders was just 2 months ago. The former employee of Southern Pacific, who worked for basically Philip Anschutz, of the chairman of the board of Southern Pacific, and chairman of the board Southern Pacific also is connected to Kobe Bryant, which it would take some work to explain it.
Let me cut you off here. Sorry. So what are the status of those lawsuits?
I lost every one of them for 30 years.
Okay.
And my attorney, I was going to sue the case that's near me.
Okay, my question is, what grounds?
Well, one was a personal injury case. The rest were contractual fraud, and a half a dozen of them would have been attempted murder. And then the ones that are being indicted for abuse of authority under color of law and official right, extortion and racketeering.
So do your lawsuits lay out your story?
I'm sorry.
Trying to relate it here. Do your lawsuits lay out your story as you're trying to relate it here?
Well, I wish I could, but you know something? There's not a single attorney that will take my case.
My question is, do your lawsuits that you already filed, that's written down, that when you file your, when you make your argument,
that stuff that's been on my blog for 10 years. That's how somebody in Facebook found me.
So your story is written down somewhere that we can go to, read it, and get an understanding of what's going on.
I got 4,000 pages between 6 or 7 logs.
Okay, but could you maybe put the link to your blog in the chat so that anybody?
Actually, I'm looking at this here. Where is the chat button? Oh, it's right here. I can't see it that well. All right. And where do I hammered it over there. Okay, I'll do that later. I'll do it next week for you.
Put it in the chat now, because you won't have a chance once the call is over. Or if you get our emails, I don't know if you're on the email list. I don't think you are. But if you can,
one of I logged in. Here's one. It's called deadwitness.com. Here's another one called pgewitness.com. And what I know about Bechtel, they are no longer contracted with PG&E. They've been split. They're behind the explosion in San Bruno, and they're
Okay.
behind.
Okay,
Right.
we don't know what to do with that information.
Are you guys?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
what I'm trying to be able to do is there are indictments, arrests, and murders all over my story, and I know the people that crafted the terrorism insurance for 9/11. They're in San Ramon, and that was the brother, and they murdered the son of the attorney.
Okay,
And
but,
that
but,
guy-
okay, but,
so
okay,
you-
we're going back down.
So you know the Beasley Group, right? You've heard of the Beasley Group, right?
We don't want to do
But-
details anymore. We just want to give people a chance to go to the links that you shared so that they can get more informed about the background of everything, connect the dots
You go-
themselves, get
This
some
last link
insight.
I'm going to post, and I'm exhausted trying to keep up with everything. And I've had my
That's fucking priceless. No, I'm sorry. That's fucking unreal. It's for fucking, I'm sorry,
Well-
brother. I'm sorry I'm going to get indignant here, but for the last 25 minutes, nobody in this fucking room has understood any fucking thing you said. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry.
Pete,
Well-
I believe
Hey, you know what, Gene? You
Pete,
can
I
go
believe
screw
you.
yourself.
All right.
Thank you,
No,
See you, buddy.
hey,
Take care.
No, no,
Thank you, buddy.
I got,
Yeah.
this is my email,
Yep.
and if anybody wants,
Yeah, see you. Fucker. Yeah, I'm fucking unreal. Sorry, I'm fucking. What the was that? Holy. Yeah, I'm just gonna edit
to
that
our
all
world.
out. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Well,
Holy
we certainly tried, and I
Oh my
think the
God.
question, this is
Gene,
where I'm having
yeah.
trouble, is if everything, this is highly classified and highly, secretive and, trying to
Everybody's
keep under
dead.
wraps, why?
Everybody
why is
died
it
but him.
coming-
Somebody pointed that out.
Yeah, why is he coming into this forum to share it with a bunch of people he doesn't know, sitting in a cafe surrounded by people he doesn't know, loudly speaking about all of this highly classified stuff? Like, something is, I don't understand how this makes any sense. I can't compute it.
Gene, I wouldn't edit it out. I would keep him in only because it goes to show everyone who watches these videos that what we don't put up with.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
actually agree
And
with
there could be, there's always the off chance that somebody doesn't know how to articulate his shit, and he's got a legit beef. And
Fair
somebody out there who might see this might know it and might understand it.
It
and
could
And
be
take
that
it
and
on
not
their
only
cards.
that,
And-
it could be that he has mental problems. I mean,
Well, yeah, there's a myriad of possibilities here, man. It's like,
and it could very well be that there's a kernel of truth to all of this, and he's just
That's it.
completely blowing it out of proportion
exactly.
and
He
connecting
was,
things
he
that
was spot on with Enron.
I mean, he was right about certain things, but man.
It's like so I ate a pickle salad the other day, and then Josine came over and we talked about badminton and
Yes.
and, it's like, and that's why you should investigate 9/11.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
So I just
Ray-
want to say, guys, it's really, I don't, my apologies to everybody who has patiently been waiting for us to shut this down.
Yeah.
It's hard to kind of, give it a chance. And, we kept trying to rein him in and trying to refocus, but I mean, there comes a point where you have to cut it off, and it's hard to know when and where to cut it off. So thanks
surprised
very
I got my
much.
cowbell back.
Thanks.
Okay, and then Ray's had
My
his hand up
cowbell
for a
was
while.
ringing.
Yeah, next time, eh?
right.
Ray, I don't know if if this has to do with what, I don't know if that makes, if there's any point in going there, but go ahead, and then Xiola has her hand up also.
You know what it kind of reminded me of? Sorry, was remember Kay Griggs? Anybody ever watched her interview, Kay Griggs?
No.
Like, she just came out. It was like a 7-hour interview. She came out with a plethora of information, just names after names, and like satanic, Satanism in the military to the New World Order to like her interview is actually really good, but she's gone. She's disappeared. They got her. I don't understand how this guy is sitting in these restaurants and getting away with like.
Yeah,
what
yeah. So,
Sandra was
someone put in the
saying.
chat saying,
How
how
do you
come they're
do that?
managing to kill everyone around him but him? So,
Yeah, really.
Something's not adding up.
Yeah, Mike
Yeah.
Zarzano, thank you for that.
But
Ray,
Kay Griggs is a good thing to look into, actually.
yeah. Ray, what did you want to say?
I want to step back to reality.
Thank you.
It's really that it spaces the mind. I went to help a neighbor when he was talking. It's too much for me. You know, I want to focus on 9/11.
Yeah.
9/11 is really where we all are. So I wanted to just take you back to 9/11 with a clip I found about the first video shot after what happened in Shanksville. And it's Dave Berkebaal. He shot it on the day it's only the smoke, but he's talking about his experience. And
But we're not going back to the technicalities of the.
No, it's not. No, it's reality. It's
no.
Dave
We're doing
Berkebaal.
activism. We're doing activism, and we had a really great call last week with a ton of ideas of things that we want to do, and that's what we want to focus on. We do not want to go to the Pentagon. March 19th.
It's not the Pentagon. With David Berkebaal, you ever heard of David Berkebaal?
No. But you said at the Pentagon.
No, I did not.
Sorry, I thought you
I
said
did not.
that. Okay.
It's a clip from YouTube and David Berkebaal shot this from his house, from where he could see the smoke from Shanksville.
Oh, Shanksville, sorry.
And Dave Berkebaal is the man who released that tape after he died. His wife released the tape, so it was not aired in years. I think 5 or 10 years after the what happened in Shanksville. So not a lot of people have listened to what he experienced. And I think there's a lot of information in what he's saying. Just listen to what he's saying.
How long is the clip?
This is a really short.
It's 45 minutes. 45 minutes.
Oh, well, I'm not going to listen to it.
No, 45 seconds. No, 45 seconds.
Okay, that's better.
45 seconds.
Go ahead and share your screen. 45 seconds.
Oh, I'll share my screen. How do I do that?
No, I think Jean just shared.
I shared you a link. Can you share this link in your thing?
Sure, I could do that too. However you want to do it.
I think that's better. I think that's better. It's more complete.
Memento.
It's from CBS. They posted it in 2011. The earliest video of Flight 93 crash on 9/11. It's called.
You have the link, Jean?
He's getting it. I guess he's getting it. You're going to post it in chat real quick.
Is that what you're doing, Ray? You're putting it in the chat?
Yes, I already did, but I'll do it again.
Oh, I see.
I'll do it again. It's here, down.
There we go. So let me share my screen. And we'll watch this 45-second clip.
46
seconds.
Oh, I don't think we do
Video
that.
has surfaced showing the immediate aftermath of the crash of United Flight 93 in Shanksville, Pennsylvania on September 11th, 2001. The amateur video was recorded by Dave Berkebaal, who lived nearby. While he was taping the cloud of smoke, Berkebaal described what he saw.
The smoke come up and the explosion shook the house clear over here. Finally, went into the Pentagon and into the World Trade Center, and we're watching it on TV, and this one happened.
Okay, what do we want to take away from that, Ray?
Well, that it shook his house clear over here. I think that's incredible. But if you look at the distance from where he's standing and where the smoke cloud is, it was massive.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's another clip from him where he speaks a little more about what he heard on the scanners. And he overheard scanners that there were terrorists with bombs on board. And that was also what he was thinking at the moment, was the explosion. And I think that if we listen to 9/11, there's a lot of information what clearly does not have the priority, but it's very important to understand all that happened. Even the small clues you can get from.
So what are we taking away from
experience.
this video, though? That I can't see whether this proves one way or another, whether it was shot down, whether it was an explosion, whether it was a.
Well, explain the explosion. I think that's the most important part that's not been explained. The explosion is not being explained.
Okay, so we didn't.
And he's saying that his house, and that's clearly like a kilometer of 10, 15 from where he's standing.
Yeah, but that's not gonna definitively tell us whether it was an explosion from an ordnance or whether it was an explosion from the plane hitting the ground.
It does definitively tell us that it wasn't a shoot down.
How?
Otherwise, you wouldn't have a point of impact so isolated.
Yeah, but bomb crater makes a point of impact, but that's technical. But I'm trying to put David Burke, but I have.
But you can process eliminate that more unlikely possibility now.
It's listening to 9/11 and knowing that plane crashes do not sound like bombs. If you think that a plane crash is a bomb, you're kind of not understanding science.
No, what Ed is saying is you can eliminate the possibility that the plane was shot down and
I think a shoot down
exploded.
is not the case in this. There's a bomb crater. There's clearly a crater in that field with imprint from wings on both sides.
My problem, unfortunately, with that is that I was close friends with a former fire chief that was friends with the fire chief. And I realize this is hearsay, but I'm friends with the fire chief. I trust this guy. Was friends with the fire chief in Shanksville, and he told him that he laid his hand on an engine several miles before the crash site. And that is indicative of me of a shoot down. So I don't know how to place that with what you guys are saying. I don't take a stand one way or another, but.
Well, the thing is, at the end of the day, one doesn't exclude the other. There could have been a shoot down and there could have been a bomb in that particular spot that was set off. I mean, it doesn't, to me, this tells me absolutely nothing. It's
Yeah, kind of, that's what I was thinking.
I really want to move away from this. We have to get back to where we were last week.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, though.
And Xiola's had her hand up forever.
Xiola, you're up.
Great, thank you.
Great.
Yeah, speaking of last week, I was like, I'm sorry I missed you guys last week. I was in the middle of doing house repairs and moving stuff around and all that good stuff. But on that note, I did listen to your show, and thank you for the archives. I certainly do appreciate that.
Thank
and
you.
After listening to it, you mentioned that there were like 4 different points. You wanted to do something like every month, and that's like really totally up my alley. I really like that, either the post or the meme or the, the petition thing or whatever. So like today, was it this morning or last night? I don't know when, but I made a little follow-up for our post, and it was like basically, did you sign the petition? If you did, great, thank you. And would you be willing to forward this to 3 people? And I put a couple of emojis on there, and I put the link on there, and I should have probably added a few more links on there, but I just kind of like wanted to drop that for a moment so I could get it in there and let it simmer and see if anybody responded to it or what. And then I was thinking on today's show, if we could go back and take a look at that awesome post when you did all those tags, because you got up to 70 shares last time I saw, and I haven't checked on it since. You should be up to maybe even 90 by now. And if we could go back and look at that, I don't know if I couldn't find your post this morning because I have to like really scroll back. But I went to my post that's pinned on my page. So if you just want to go to my page and look at my post, I put that comment that I just mentioned, the follow-up comment on there, the follow through for 3 more signatures. And if we just like go through your post today and everybody who shared it, 70 or 90 people, you just go down the list and you just drop that comment on every single one who shared it, man, that expands the whole thing by a plethora, really. I mean, if you're really going to use the tools and try to work them for what we have left anyway, I would say definitely follow through. Everybody who shared your post, go through and say, hey, share 3 more, you know, and do that. Do you see where it is? Can you do a share screen and kind of just like walk us through this just for a moment so we can kind of do a follow through on that post? Because that was pretty kick-ass.
Yeah, it was the first time I had tried tagging. Trying to find it.
Well, while Jean's looking, I'm just going to clarify something really quickly. Obviously, anybody can take any action and do it any time. What we had gone over last week was ideas that we could focus on over a whole month period, so that we could get behind one specific action item as a group and do it over a 4-week period. And the one that we went with last week, even though we mentioned the other ones, and obviously anybody, I guess I can do it anytime, but the one that we're focusing on now until the end of February will be the one about publicly displaying posters, stickers, banners, anything in public, and to share the results. And we're asking everyone to take some time out until the end of February to, you know, go get some stickers, print out some posters, whatever they want to do, and put them up in public places. And we've now created a Facebook page specifically for the War Room where we can share the results and where we can encourage each other. And the whole idea being that it's very motivating when you see someone else posting, you know, pictures of having gone public. And the idea is to give everyone the time to get used to doing activities that they're not necessarily naturally inclined to do. Sometimes it's just a matter of getting over the hump of doing something for the first time, and then you do it, and then it becomes a habit and it becomes normal, and it doesn't feel so weird anymore. So all this to say, that's the one item for this month right now. But yes.
I can definitely follow through on that, because I wanted to ask you this too, because I was really up in the air. I had ordered a bunch of the architects and engineers stuff from when they had their big sale. Remember this? I never say it right, but it was like the guy Samir or somebody's.
Oh,
sale.
Shyam Sunder sale.
Yeah. And it was like 70% off, and I was like, oh, hot damn, I'm gonna like load up on all the best flyers and everything. And I did, I really did. I've got flyers and books and t-shirts to give away. And I didn't follow through on it because there was like a complete shitstorm right before 9/11. Eric Sandstrom, of course, was posting about how everybody's a shill and all this. And I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? And I asked Jeannie, he says, I don't know what the hell's going on. And I says, well, I felt kind of funny, like I was planning on having this party and going out and passing out flyers, and that really deterred me. But I still have all the flyers. I didn't burn mine up like Eric did.
Right, yeah. I think we all have flyers, yeah.
Yeah, so I was thinking, if they're still valid, I would like to be able to do what you just said for the rest of January, like see that through and go out and, you know, put them wherever I can. And because I don't really go out much, but when I do, I can certainly do something.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's places to do it, and there's ways to do it. I mean, to, you know,
well, I felt really funny about it I bought all those things and then Richard left and there was all this drama. And then I'm like, is this even valid anymore? Should I follow
It's
through
always
on?
valid. There's no day that it's not,
I see
regardless of
people
what
using
happens.
for bonfire and I'm like, oh shit, this is not a good sign.
No,
So
no,
Xiola-
no.
What Xiola was referencing was
Xiola.
Xiola. Sorry, I'll never get that right. But Xiola said she suggested in one of the meetings to tag other people, and I'd never done that before. So I tagged 100 people, which is the most that Facebook will allow you to tag. It did only take 5 minutes, and since then it looks like 5 people have untagged themselves. But I am impressed. It got 77 shares, which is more than average. So
And see, you know what? It was 70 last week when I checked, and that it's hardly gotten any traction since then. And if you were really working that post and kept adding to it and responding to it and all that good stuff, man, that post would be up in the hundreds by now. I'm telling you, I've seen it happen. So I took a similar post. I took that post and kind of like, well, no, it wasn't that picture, but a different picture. And I added a whole bunch of stuff to it. You know, my big post on my page. Would you mind going to my page really quick and just take a look? I'm sorry, I don't mean to be a pain in the ass. I just want to show you what I've done with mine. And I pinned mine. Hey, it's not pinned. What's going on?
yeah, I don't see.
Oh man.
It's not there.
Okay, I have the pin. Can you just do oh, I'm trying to think if I have a hashtag in there and you can search the page. Why doesn't the pinning work? I totally pinned my 9/11 post. You're tagged in it and I just commented on it today. So it should totally be right there. I'm so sorry, you guys. I checked today too and it said still pinned, because Facebook likes to mess with me that way. But if you can find, there it is down there, Xiola's post, the 9/11 post down there.
This one?
Underneath, down, yeah, down there. See the 9/11. Okay, open that up. Yeah, okay, I think go down a little bit more. That's the post. Is that? Or is that on just a page?
Yeah, I think
did
it's on
take it.
Pennsylvania for Free America.
All right.
But
Damn it, I'm trying to show you the one that's actually on my page because I have like up to 70 shares now too. But 50 of those are in my groups. And so I wanted to show you how that all broke down so you understand how it all gets out there. Because when you go to each group, like you just saw, it goes there. Even though it's not gotten any traction or anything, but if you had friends, you know, add your friends to Pennsylvania or whatever, which I, you know, trying to grow these groups little by little, and they're growing a little bit.
And I just like to mention as far as tactics, because I don't know if you guys realize sometimes how a post, even your Xiola, sorry. There's a profile picture of yourself that you put up maybe 3 years ago that suddenly saw new life because somebody saw it and somebody commented on it. So if people are aware, the way Facebook works is that it will revive an old post in a feed. If suddenly somebody comments on it recently, it's going to bring it back into the forefront again. So if you guys, you know, make a habit out of that to even just make, Jean will sometimes just put a dot as a comment, just a period, because that's all he needs to do. And suddenly the post from like 4, 5, 6 weeks or months ago will suddenly come back to life. So with the important posts, those that have had a lot of likes or traction or shares or whatever, it's a good thing to do that because then it puts it back on the radar for everybody else whose feed it's going to pop into. And on a side note, I just wanted to just quickly mention, I follow a page called Awake Canada, obviously because I'm in Canada, and it's honestly, it's just about, you know, what's going on with COVID and everything right now. But in that feed, lo and behold, yesterday popped up one of Jean's memes about 9/11. The one about the Joker sitting in the subway system and Jean linking, the mass formation psychosis of 9/11 to COVID. And so I have no idea how it ended up on a page that technically had nothing to do with 9/11, but it did. And it got a really good response. And it just reminded me of the importance of taking our message outside of the echo chamber of just 9/11, because you can reach people who are like-minded and help them start connecting the dots. So then I put a comment under it, obviously, because I wanted to keep that post alive, coming back up in the feed. And in the meantime, there's like, I don't know, 20 people who weighed in on it, liking it and whatnot, even though they're technically not related to 9/11. So that was just a small experience that reminded me that it's important to keep relevant posts alive by commenting on them, by weighing in, and by sharing them as much as possible outside of the echo chamber, because you don't know who you're going to reach. So those
And you know what else you can do? You can take that post link and save it in a file document. If you use like Google Docs, for instance, make a little document and say my most important 9/11 posts, and put your links there so you can revisit them often and check on them and recirculate them, because it's good to every once in a while just drop a comment in there, revive the whole thing, and everybody goes, oh wow, this thing's still going. Like some of Rudy's posts, I've been meaning to do that. I need to go back and reshare his posts and get his posts going again, and everybody's going to be like, yeah, and it's just been so crazy with the new year and all of the changes in the news and everything. My goodness, but all
it's
the
even
things
simpler than that. In Facebook, you don't even have to save the link and put it in a file. You can just click on the 3 dots of any post, whether it's yours or somebody else's, and just click on save. And it's automatically going to save any of those posts in a saved folder that's directly on Facebook. Like, you don't even have to go outside of Facebook, and you can go back to it anytime. And eventually, if you don't want to save them anymore, you could just remove them. But it's really just literally one click to save a post for as long as you want to. So, and you can even make subfolders. If you want to make a folder for yourself of, posts that to revive later on, you put it in there, and then you have them all at your hand, and you can go back to them anytime very, very easily.
Yeah, and if you build like a little toolbox inside each one, every time you share that link and you're adding to it, you have a little toolbox attached to it. So people have kind of like a how-to, maybe instructions or links to learn more. Like lately, I've been learning more about Toastmasters. I want to become a better speaker. I want to be captivating and like really get my audience interested in what I'm saying. So I've been like practicing and checking it out, and man, it's really awesome. It's so much fun too, because when you practice and you actually make it work, it starts working for you. So that's another tool we can have in our toolbox as far as events go. If somebody says, hey, you got the mic, and you get up there and you don't know what to say. If you practice these Toastmaster things, man, you'll have like 1 minute, 3 minute, and 5 minute little speeches ready to go at your fingertips at the top of your head. And, I practice on my cat. My cat loves me, thank God, but it's fun. It's fantastic. Yeah. So, okay, I'm done with my little spiel. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, there are, if you guys, even if you took 30 seconds looking in a mirror and talking to yourself, it sounds foolish, but if you actually do it, having a past and a little bit of public speaking with college, and really does help, because if you'll see your facial mannerisms and things like that, and if you appear non-confident, it really does impact how speaking to someone, it plays a part in speaking to someone. But if you're not an extrovert, or if you're really pushing with your introversion and trying to come out of your shell, one step before getting to actually speaking to someone might be this. So we were talking about sharing flyers or stickers or whatnot. This was going to my mom's house this past Sunday, or actually yesterday, past Saturday. Any chance I get to get gas, I will go ahead and throw in a sticker and or two. And the QR code goes back to the Lawyers Committee's website about the grand jury. And driving past some old gas stations, my stickers, this is new, but some of the old ones are still there. So it's nice while people are pumping up, they get a quick little, put that pebble in their shoe. And if they're feel so comfortable to do so, they could scan the QR code and see about it.
And you know, that's perfect also, because, you know, you're standing there for a minute or two while you're filling your gas tank and you got nothing to do but to look around. It's as good as the back of a bathroom stall, right? Because you have to look at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know how long it takes to put 280 gallons of fuel in a semi truck?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can put up whole news stories on your tank stations.
Yeah. I will thank you, Curtis. Curtis, my buddy, live close to Pittsburgh, truck driver, and yeah, I'll get some stickers for you. I appreciate that.
As soon as I get one.
Right on, brother. Thank you.
Yep.
So we want to see pictures of people doing this. We definitely want to have this, you know, start to become a habit for everyone to start putting up in public view.
I will. I'll tag the location and where it's at as well.
That would be great. That'd be great. Cayle has had his hand up for a little while. Cayle?
Yep, go ahead, Cayle.
I just want to share a little story. Believe it or not, I'm a little shy, but online I'm not so shy. But I actually got up and spoke at a town hall meeting recently. And whenever we go to any of these marches or protests or convoys, whether it's for the Hawaiian Kingdom and they're trying to get their sovereignty or protect their land, or the COVID marches and protests, whatever, we show up as 9/11 Truth Hawaii in support of. And I actually got up and did a speech and, you know, talked to the people as 9/11, representing 9/11 Truth. I could get that clip and I can share it on your Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I signed up with you guys on the Facebook, your new page.
We just created it this morning, so it's not. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll share that. I don't know, hopefully to inspire some others that, you know,
absolutely
are kind of hesitant. I have been over the years, and we're more like stand with our flags and, you know, or do the sticker thing or wear the shirts. But yeah, I actually got up and spoke.
That's amazing.
It turned out pretty good too, you know.
How was the reception?
Awesome. And no matter where I go now, it's just amazing how many people are just so open to 9/11 now. Honestly, we really get no pushback. As a matter of fact, the day that we spoke after our meeting, we went to Whole Foods grocery, and I got out of the van and they had blocked off one of the elevators for the elderly, and I was like, how the hell are they going to be able to get up and down? What is COVID running riding in the elevator? Anyway, this elderly couple comes out, and she's got a Make America Great Again mask. And the gentleman's like, what is your shirt? What is that 9/11 Truth? And we just got into talking, you know, and he's an engineer out here in Hawaii. So I was like, well, honey, we were just talking with Gene and Sandra and all them. And look, you know, I got his card, and then, you know, we exchanged information. But one of the top engineers, he's like, I never heard of a third building.
Wow.
Search building 7, because I had that on the bottom.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but like this is awesome because it, it inspires and gives us, more of that momentum we need.
Yeah, we need the motivation, and
yes,
you don't get the motivation unless we connect and share stories and see how other people, I mean, to me, that's inspiring what you're saying right now, because I'll tell you one thing. I don't know, I think there's 12 people on the call right now. I would like to ask, out of these 12 people, which one of them considers themselves an extrovert? Because I'm pretty sure, I mean, if anybody considers themselves an extrovert, then I want to hear who you are, because I think that most people find themselves to be on the introverted side. So to hear, to hear you say that, you're a little, I think we're all a little bit shy in our own way. We don't always, I will say that I'm shy, and people keep telling me that they don't think so, but we don't see each other the way we see others. And it just goes to show that, sometimes, fake it till you make it, right? Go ahead and do it. And that's what's going to give you the confidence to do it more and better and more often, and to find your groove as to what works and what doesn't. So you don't have to be an extrovert. You just have to know what your message is, and you have to know how to speak to people and reach them and give them the right information. And the rest is just making it a habit.
I just invited a bunch of you to the new 9/11 War Room Facebook group. And inadvertently, I had made a War Room group 2 years ago, but it was private, and I want to get away from private groups because that was the whole problem with the 9/11 Truth Movement. It was a private group, so people couldn't see it. So I made a public group called 9/11 War Room. The only one for some reason, Facebook won't let me add and send an invite to you, Cayle. So if you could look out for it, and everyone else here should have gotten an invitation, except for Sean. He's not on Facebook anymore.
will do, brother.
Thank you. Anything else? Anybody? For the good of the group?
So, this is Aamir from Austin, Texas.
Yes,
so
Aamir.
Things you have been putting on the gas stations. So, is there a resource folder on the 9/11 Ballroom page where I can download these stickers, like if I want to print them out?
Yes, that's a good question. Let me share my screen here. For those of you that I need to do a better job of getting all my files up here. And again, the 9/11 War Room, it's just for function. It's not for fashion. Basically, I just want people to do the most important things. Sign these petitions. One, donate at least $1 per month to those organizations. Write a letter to your congressman or so on and so forth. And then street activism, which I'll get this cleaned up better. I don't have anything in there right now. Right now, Aamir, if I went into, I believe I have it in.
Yeah, it's under flyers, yeah.
Under flyers. So that's the business cards and my paper flyers.
Do you have Einstein in there somewhere?
I don't. I need to get that up here.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Let me look under stickers. Stickers.
Oh, maybe.
This is the QR code. Yeah, this is the QR code idea.
Have you had Einstein on yet?
I'm sorry?
Have you had Einstein on there?
Actually, I do. I put it under ridiculous. I need to get these all collectively under the same place. It's under the folder that says 911 WTF.
Okay.
And the image is there. And I actually have 2 links here to the sticker guys page. You can make them 250 stickers big, which is basically 5 inches by 2 inches, something like that. And the other one's a small version. It takes you to his page where you would upload that picture that I just had on the previous page, and it costs you $32 and you get 500 stickers sent right to your house. So again, if anybody wants to do this, if you go to 911warroom.com and you wanted to get the Einstein stickers, there's 911 WTF and all the information's right there.
And Aamir, I mean, honestly, if there's any image that you know of that appeals to you that you would like to use,
Yeah.
there's you can download. I mean, that's the beauty right now. It's like you can download any picture that exists, and you can format it to fit onto, you know, whether it's a sticker or a 8.5 by 11 poster or whatever, and then you can either, you know, you can print them out yourself. You can have them. You can order them as stickers through the sticker guy. You know, there's so many ways.
I'll give you a tip here. If you found an image that you liked, you really wanted to put it on a sticker, or if you have an idea that you want to work with, you want to send it to me, email me, I'll help you get it formatted so it would fit on one of these. But if you have got an idea, you click on got an idea. I have a design. Whoops, I didn't want to do that, did I? I already, oh, I don't want to reorder. I don't have a design. I'll send my design later. Where'd it go?
Maybe that's just not an option.
I don't know where it went. I don't know why this got weird.
Well, you still have a couple of options. You have, like, they can help you design it, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I was just gonna, the throw is really super easy. I got an idea. I don't know why they're saying very odd. You should be able to pick a new design. Oh, there it is. It was, I didn't scroll up high enough. Forgive me. It was just out of the screen. It was the top one. I have a design to upload. And then the black and white is your best deal. It's getting a little bit more pricey if you're going to add more color to it. But if you had a black and white design, you have all these different sizes. You could do bumper stickers, circle designs, super tiny pictures, like a, let's see, 2.13 inches by 2.75 inches. I think this is what I used for my Einstein sticker. Again, you upload your design to it, and yeah, for 20 bucks, you can get 250. But if you wanted to add that third color, because my Einstein picture does have red in it, if I go there and the small one, it's another $12 just for 250.
It's really not bad.
It's not bad. An extra 12 bucks for 500 stickers. That's awesome. And let me go back, and you would get something like.
What about the lawyer committee one? Is that in there?
The lawyers committee one?
Yeah.
You mean the logo?
No, the one you put on the gas pump.
Oh.
Oh, with the QR code.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a good question. That one I did a little differently. I actually went to, let's see, how can I show you guys this quickly and easily? Search profile, stickers. Let me look up Avery. Here we go. Getting close. Maybe not. Here we go.
That one there.
Yeah, that's it. But I wanted to show the one where I actually got the Avery. Basically, I made my own stickers. I guess we'll just go with one of those. Where'd it go? Sorry to scroll.
Can you import that to the sticker guy?
But again,
okay, I do have everything here. Basically, I went to Staples. I went to Staples, a local Office Max or whatever you have, and you can buy these
right
inkjet shipping labels. It was 23 bucks for 600 stickers. And if you have access to a printer, you would just go and make a design, which I made this design, and it prints out. I actually had a bunch of designs. the 2 planes, 3 towers, the Einstein one, some of the victims' family members, prints out 6 to a page, color. If you have access to a copy machine, I wouldn't say run off all the sheets, but if you're at work, you know, or you go to Staples now and print them out, you print out a few sheets and go with it. These aren't waterproof, but they're water resistant. And here's, I printed out 6 of them to a sheet, and yeah, throw them up on gas station pumps or behind bathroom stalls, hanging off the toilet paper dispenser or whatnot. And the QR code goes to the actually goes to this link about the citizens' rights denied by the district court, appeal filed. So it gets people going to the Lawyers Committee's website. And that's that. So there's, I guess, just think outside the box. You could either go to Sticker Guy and do it. You could go to Staples and make your own stickers. You could print it out on a sheet of paper and just tape the piece of paper up somewhere, stick it on a billboard, anything you guys can think of.
Thank you.
Yeah, Xiola has her hand up.
Go ahead, Xiola.
You're gonna have to unmute yourself though.
Or she walked away because.
Or maybe she did.
It took forever. Great. Let's see. Anything else for the good of the group for anybody?
Wait, did Claudio come on? I haven't seen him.
I saw Chris Gioia join here for a second. He ended up leaving.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
I'm kind of interested in Claudio's. He was getting a lot of people signing up for I Am the Face of Truth, and I've noticed that it's dropped off to a trickle. I was hoping to ask him what was going on.
One thing I had always wished with that was that they actually documented the names and stuff of people to be able to contact and reach out. It's great that you're bringing attention to everything, but we're not organizing anybody. So I understand it to a certain degree. I do that with the memes. I just set the memes out that it would hopefully influence somebody, but it does nothing for actually kind of connecting us, which, I mean, Claudio has a fantastic idea for bringing attention to everything, but it doesn't really connect any of us.
Yeah, it stops there, unfortunately. We need to take it a step further, but that's what we're here for.
Yeah, so.
That's what we're doing
Xiola,
now.
did you come back with your hand up again?
Yeah, I sure did. I wanted to say that, well, you kind of like, with what you mentioned, that was interesting. Because I've been trying to get us back on track too. I want to get us all on the same page, but we can't be like trying to divide us up. That's just not acceptable. We all want to win. We all want freedom. We all want to preserve our rights and everything. So on that note, I'll leave that alone. But as far as our advocacy goes and what we are doing going forward, I would really love a briefing from you on what's coming up with the Lawyers Committee on January 21st, what we can expect, what we as advocates should look for, what we should be supporting. Of course, we want to do that follow through with get 3 more friends to sign. I was even thinking about taking that to the emails and getting people pumped up with that, if we can come up with a cool email. I still haven't worked on my email, tightening that up yet, but I'm working, you know, I'm going to. I'm a little preoccupied with a new venture. I don't know if you heard yet, but I'm doing the saving 22 veterans a day instead of losing them to suicide. So that's another thing I've got on my plate with all the other projects I've got going on. But I definitely want to follow through on this because this is a big week for us. Coming into this new week, we've really got a lot to look forward to. And so I would love a briefing from you on that, if you could, please, Jean.
That was the first thing we did once we started the show. So it'll be on the recording.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I came in 20 minutes late, so that's right on. I'll have to listen to the archives.
Yeah, you
But
missed the
thank
whole
you.
recap, yeah.
All good on that. Thank you for that.
Ray and
Right on.
Alfred.
Ray, you up?
Hello, hello.
Hello.
I'm here. I wanted to get back to the, you know, you said, because I think this happened and we don't have to talk about it, but the words from Dave Burkerbile, I screenshotted the words of him talking on his video, and I shared it in the chat, so maybe you can look at it.
Yeah, we'll
It's
copy the whole chat and
the
we'll.
last. No, it's one picture. It's just one picture.
Yeah, it's fine.
But it's his words, and if I just translated and made a screenshot of his video. So it's not something I made up.
Okay.
But I just wanted to give a perspective from him, because I think 9/11 is really important that we listen to the witnesses. And in this case, you can read what he's saying. It's in Gene. It's in the chat. The
I think I just
screenshot.
shared it right now, didn't I? Oh wait,
No.
there we go.
Well, it's in the chat. I
That's it.
No. It's just in the screen. That's the one.
My screen's crashing, but yeah, I'm speculating.
Probably had a terrorist bomb on board that blew up. And,
Yes.
And if you listen to the air traffic control tapes that were recorded, there is a voice that says there's a bomb on board. And I think if you add those things together, it makes a strong case that explosives were on the plane when they came down. And I think that's really important to think about. If you look at further details of the crash site and the crater that was formed, they all point to a high explosive.
Okay, Ray, duly noted. We got it the first time.
Okay. I just wanted to do that, and then we round it up. It's my
And
point.
I need to speak for everyone. And I want to go to
No.
Al,
You
because
can
Al-
speak for everybody, but I speak with knowledge, because it's a part of 9/11 that I have really researched.
Yes, but
And
I'm
I
speaking
think
for everyone on the call right now.
Yeah. Yes.
Comfortably.
I'll keep it short. And
No, that's it. I just want to go
thank
back.
you.
Al had his hand up. I
Okay.
want to go back to Al.
Bye.
Thank you, Ray. Al, you're up.
Yeah, the lawyers committee, Mick Harrison, the cover letter and the lawyer groups that he was going to give it to us. It's probably too late now, but it's for January 21st. It would be a great come on for any attorney that might want to follow. In other words, we haven't heard anything from Mick about.
I softly pushed him a week ago, and at this point, yeah, he's probably got his head fully enwrapped in the preparing for these oral arguments this Friday. So we're gonna have to unfortunately push till after that happens.
It would be good if we could somehow do it ourselves in a way, if we know attorneys and any lawyers that are around.
I tried that. I like created the whole cover letter. I think I carbon copied you on it, and then I got a small slap on the wrist from Mick saying,
"Oh, don't do that." Yeah,
don't do that.
Okay.
So
yeah,
because
you're right.
It
You're
would
right,
be
but
good
yeah.
for them to see that. If we get even a video on it or anything to send it out to lawyers. But I guess we'll take our lead from him. I don't want to muddy the waters here.
He knows that we're here to help and that we're here as a resource. So it's in his own interest.
Yep.
When he gets the chance, after he's got his priorities, obviously, he has to go with that. But he knows that we're here, and if there's anything we can help him do, he's gonna let us know, I'm sure.
Yeah. So I guess the big thing for this week will be this Friday, 10 a.m. oral arguments for the grand jury investigation pushing forward. That's huge for us.
Yeah.
So everyone keep that in your thoughts.
We'll have lots to talk about next week. And
Yes.
next week we need to cut it off on time after 2 hours because Richard's going to have his founders meeting after. And
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say, I feel upset about that guy. I just don't know what to make of him. And he spent an hour.
yeah, and you're not alone, Al.
Yeah.
But I don't know. My 2 cents is the guy really has a mental problem. But
Maybe.
Something. Somehow I'm the bad guy again.
well, you stepped up, which nobody else didn't seem to want to do. So
Yeah, forgive me for the dozen F's that I threw out, F-bombs I threw out there. Man, I don't know. I'm not politically correct, as some of you guys know, and my emotions get the best of me sometimes. But you guys know my heart for 9/11.
I think you spoke for all of us.
So, anybody else? One last thing for the group.
They're good.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Again, keep your thoughts on this Friday. I'll be sending out an email also to let you guys know so we could see any live video or a live audio feed. But have a great week, everybody, and thank you for tuning in.
Yeah.
thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a good week.